Smallholder farmers in Zambia face a challenge of access to agricultural finance due to the high cost of borrowing from the financial market. Most smallholder farmers are also vulnerable to climate change, which has increased the risk of borrowing from financial institutions offering agricultural loans. In view of this, the Ministry of Finance and National Planning's Rural Finance Unit and the Ministry of Agriculture partnered with GIZ's promotion of agricultural finance for agri-based enterprises in rural areas, ACFIN project and the Rural Finance Expansion Program RUFEP, to organize a conference on accelerating access to agricultural finance for smallholder farmers. Held on 22nd June 2023 at Radisson Blu Hotel in Lusaka, the conference aimed to address the financing challenges faced by smallholder farmers in Zambia, focusing on the contribution of the private sector. Key stakeholders from government, the private sector, non-state actors and development partners attended the conference. Gracing the event, Acting Permanent Secretary for Budget and Economic Affairs at the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Mwaka Mukubesa, reiterated the government of Zambia's commitment to creating an equitable financial landscape that benefits smallholder farmers.
By working collectively to streamline policies and implement targeted interventions, we can pave the way for a more inclusive financial ecosystem that supports the growth and sustainability of the agriculture sector. Our goal is to see that a higher proportion of affordable loans and financial services are directed toward the agriculture, forestry and fisheries sectors, thereby empowering the small-scale farmers and fostering economic advancement.
And Deputy Head of Development Cooperation at the German Embassy, Jonathan Gatza, echoed the importance of sustainable access to agricultural finance for smallholder farmers in Zambia.
Farmers need to understand better what financial institutions expect from them. They need to create a financial history for themselves and become more knowledgeable on available finance products and also provide respectively. Farmers need to be able to compare financial institutions' offers, to be able to make informed decisions. They need to be aware of the risk in farming as a business and how to insure oneself against them. And they need to know how to protect oneself against fraud that is becoming more and more challenging when using digital financial services.
Speaking earlier, IFAD Zambia Country Program Officer Dr. Brian Kapotwe reiterated IFAD's commitment to partnering with the government of the Republic of Zambia on its agenda for rural transformation. Dr. Kapotwe said, through programs such as RUFEP and Enhanced Smallholder Livestock Program, ESLIP, IFAD was committed to addressing the challenges facing rural smallholder farmers in Zambia.
We don't want to leave the rural sector behind. The informality of the services that are being offered in the rural sector limit their ability to grow and to become efficient in what they are doing. And so we're talking about making sure that private sector is involved in the provision of support services, and one of which is access to finance or financial services broadly, because we're talking about improving their capacity to save, improving their capacity to invest, and for them to make informed business decisions.
RUFEP Program Coordinator Michael Mbulo gave highlights of RUFEP's implementation strategy aimed at promoting access to financial services by smallholder farmers in Zambia.
We have worked with about 48 partners from 2016 to date at the micro level. So micro level is the FSP level, so banks, MFIs, fintechs, service group promoters, pay-as-you-go promoters, different initiatives that people are doing. All these are about taking financial services rural areas. So we have 48 partners that we work with at that level. We have also worked at a higher level in terms of supporting policy and regulation and also improving the financial infrastructure.
During the conference, delegates were given key highlights on the state of agricultural finance in Zambia.
As stakeholders that want to serve our farmers better, what we need to do is to integrate CFS in our product design, because we can see that at least almost 50% of the farmers, of the households that stated that they are deriving their life through agriculture, they stated that they are by interaction with TFS, almost 50%.
There's the Comprehensive Agricultural Transformation Support Program coming up, which will bring about a lot of changes within the agricultural sector. There's a lot of need to collaborate and work together to see how financial institutions, how the private sector can support the different agricultural stakeholders, the smallholders, in growing.
The role of financial literacy and how to link farmers to financial institutions was also emphasized. Financial service providers were challenged to ensure smallholder farmers were informed about their products and services.
We have to offer the financial literacy that is there to actually change their life and make sure that when people are accessing any financing, they have the knowledge of how they are going to repay.
So as a project and the ministry, working with the Ministry of Fisheries as well, we are contributing through provision of financial literacy trainings to farmers, financial institution clients, SMEs, through the trainings that we offer, those that are listed there, the FFC, the AgVet, and the business simulation.
The conference provided an opportunity to the financial services providers to pitch their products and financial services targeted at smallholder farmers.
In agreement, we have a new concept of accessing inputs, and through the partnership with Ruben, we've also got an e-commerce platform that has enabled us to reach out to a lot more farmers. We've reached out to over 10,000 farmers. We want to be a one-stop shop for all smallholder farmers in our activities and outreach to the farmers.
In 2019, we conducted a vintage project with Ruben, in which we linked our savings groups to a form of financial service provider, the Bank, which tailor-made a bank account with zero charges, enabling our groups to save with the institution. And so from this, we had a lot of success stories at different levels of impact, including business startups. 2,813 women and 937 men were able to continue businesses.
In order to accelerate that access to finance for smallholder farmers, what AgriSol has done is to remove the barriers that impede or that make small-scale farmers have access to finance. So what are those barriers? So since they're talking about what are the advantages of finance using us. Number one, no corruption. So farmers don't need to provide us with corruption. The same equipment is used as is accepted as corruption.
During a panel discussion on the theme, what must be done to accelerate access to agricultural finance for smallholder farmers in Zambia, panelists highlighted a number of financing challenges and issues facing smallholder farmers and agribusinesses in Zambia.
The most critical thing is that we neglect to provide the requisite knowledge in funding. Most of these people below there, unfortunately, in one form or the other, they failed in something. And by default, they found themselves as small-scale farmers. That is why they carry that entitlement mechanism. However, if we can provide some form of knowledge, capacity building, that is integrated to their way of life, because I believe at that level, farming is a way of life.
From the Microfinancing Association perspective, I think that farmers are more than welcome. I think that we are in position in a very good space to actually reach to those farmers that are typically considered unbanked. And I think by nature of our design as microfinancing institutions, we tend to be very high risk takers. We go to people that generally would not qualify for credit services, in traditional setups, but we are designed like that.
The government perspective is to ensure that we provide an enabling environment, we ensure that policies and regulations are there for industry players to come in, and as well as how we exit the industry in terms of provisioning services, particularly in the rural areas.
The session was interactive, and participants that attended shared their viewpoints on the theme under discussion.
Are there plans to actually make VAT exemptions on leases as well, as opposed to it just being an SI? And secondly, are there plans to expand the exemption list to include some of those small equipment for small-scale farmers in rural areas, so as to actually access to finance for smallholder farmers?
The ministry will not be able to generate those incentives if we do not get any information and feedback from the public. So what I would like to urge you is to come on board to the ministry. This is the most ample time to make your submission so that the scope can be widened in terms of equipment that is still attracting VAT, and it can be considered for exemption going forward in the 2024 budget.
What are we doing as institutions to communicate to the farmers so that they become aware of what they need to do to grow?
We need to harmonize the messaging around financial literacy. I've noted there are several players who provide extension services with regards to financial literacy, but we need to harmonize so that we don't have conflicts. One is saying this, the other one is saying this. So we need to invest in that area.
During the conference, a marketplace was organized for financial institutions and agribusinesses to exhibit their products and services targeted for smallholder farmers. With more than 100 participants representing various stakeholders and actors in the agricultural and financial sectors, the conference was considered a success. It was a great milestone towards a solution to addressing access to financial services for smallholder farmers.
So we are very much impressed with the organizers and actually the participation. We have participated. We are expecting high returns in terms of farmers getting to access the finance from these financial institutions.
Some of these outcomes of this conference as regards to networking, as regards to the product and services that's supposed to reach out to the farmers, and also the opportunities that have been also highlighted should continue, especially us grassroots organizations. We need not some of these discussions to end at this level. We need them to trickle down to the farmers in the rural areas and access these services.
Officially closing the conference, Ministry of Agriculture Director Dr. Shepande Chizumba, through a speech read on his behalf by Mr. Louis Chikopela, called for continued cooperation among stakeholders in order to speed up agricultural financing for smallholder farmers in Zambia.
Generally, it has been agreed in this workshop that there is need to accelerate access to agricultural finance amongst the small-scale farmers and indeed the agribusiness that are in the rural areas. And having acknowledged that, there is also an acknowledgement that there are gaps
from both the supply side and the demand side. And these gaps cannot be single-handedly dealt with by either government or the collaborating partners or the financial sector. These gaps can only be addressed by a very systematic collaboratory efforts between all the players in that space.